Okay, let's talk about shelters now. In a bug out situation, you're going to need some place to sleep, and you know, if you're in the wilderness or something, equally so, having shelter is super important. So I'll just run you through what I have here. Obviously I don't have a tent for space reasons, but that would probably be the optimal solution. So lacking a tent, let's show you what we do have. So first thing is I have this emergency bivy. This is sort of like a sleeping bag, I guess, very light duty, but it reflects your body heat back to you. It doesn't work on the principle of insulation. It's sort of like a space blanket. It has this reflective material, so your body heat will come back to you. But I like that because you can wrap yourself up in it. It's kind of like a blanket or something. I also have a really cheap emergency space blanket. These are very brittle and fragile. They tear very easily. And I mean, you can see that they only cost like $2. So I would probably integrate that into some sort of a shelter that I actually built rather than just wrap myself up with it like this astronaut guy on the cover. I also have an 8x10 heavy duty space blanket, and this can actually be used as a tarp. It's got the grommets built into it there, and I have strung it up like that. To add to that system, I do have 100 feet of paracord here. So you know, you could tie up that tarp, you could wrap yourself up in the bivy, or I mean, just wrap yourself up in the bivy and then cover yourself with a tarp just to keep the water off you or something. And you know, you could just call it a day, right? You would survive. But if you're going to be somewhere for the night and you have some time or whatever, I would definitely recommend building a shelter. I also have some two heavy duty garbage bags here, which could be sliced open and, you know, taped together or something like that with some Gorilla duct tape on a credit card. And you know, you could use that to basically make a big tarp or something to keep the water off of you. So now that's basically all of the you know, ready-made shelter stuff that I have. But I also figure that you're probably gonna have to improvise a lot, right? So I have some tools with me to help me build something perhaps out of natural materials, or a hybrid of natural and man-made stuff. So I've got a fixed blade here. That's the Gerber Big Rock. It's not a super great fixed blade. You know, here's the sheath for it. It cost me like 35 bucks or something, but I'm not afraid to dedicate that to the kit, so it just stays in there all the time, and having a fixed blade is pretty important, I would say. I also have some zip ties here and elastic bands. Not too sure what I would use those for necessarily, but probably good to have. You know, it's one of those MacGyver-esque type things. You never know what you could need it for. Of course, I mentioned the duct tape already. I have some safety goggles here. You know, you want to protect your eyes, especially if you need to break some glass. You could use like the pommel of your knife. You know, and I also have some gloves here. Protect your hands, of course. That's pretty important. I've used those before when working with wood. You know, having some like heavy duty like leather gloves would probably be better, but I actually like the dexterity that you get from these, and they're sort of more versatile. I have a hacksaw here, which could be used to cut through metal to some extent, given enough time and patience, and give you some options that you might not have otherwise. I have a good quality multi-tool here. This is Leatherman Charge TI, and this is pretty much top of the line as far as multi-tools goes. It's got a great tool set on it, and something that I really like is that it has a, if I can find it, it has a folding saw. So that gives you some options to cut through natural material to make a shelter out of. So pretty awesome. Plus it has like screwdrivers and, you know, a plain edge S30V knife. Pretty awesome, pretty indispensable, I would say. Last thing I'll mention is my fire kit. You know, fire is man's oldest friend, or one of them anyways. Fire and cutting tools basically got us where we are today. So my fire kit has multiple ignition sources. I've got like a mini Bic lighter in here, good to go. That'll light, you know, a few hundred times. Got a Swedish fire steel, light my fire. You know, again, it's good for 1,000 strikes or whatever to generate sparks, and you need to land those onto some tinder. I've got some waterproof matches here in a waterproof container. They're strike anywhere matches, I believe, and also there's some duct tape wrapped around here. This could be good for if you need to go into the woods and you're not too familiar with the terrain. You can mark on branches with this and find your way back. It's pretty cool. As for tinder, I've got two types of tinder here. These are wax and sawdust, like molded together. And I did a tinders video and I tested all these different types of tinder, and this guy lasted the longest. It lasted for like 12 or 13 minutes per brick. So I got 2 bricks here, which could be further broken down into maybe 4 bricks. So let's say 2 to 4 fires, something like that. I also have cotton ball saturated with Vaseline, and this is my go-to. Super cheap to make. I found that these generally burn for at least a couple minutes, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I've seen them burn for longer than that as well, so it just kind of depends. But multiple types of tinder, multiple ignition sources. Add that fire to the reflective space blanket, you know, add in the capability to construct a natural shelter using the folding saw and the knife. I've got a bivy to wrap myself up in. You know, I've got some options here, and I've got some tools just to improvise. So that is basically my shelter system.